Hey, good evening, guys. Alrighty, so we are back in the shop again. Alright, so I'm taking a break from the Cobra 2000. Got the frequency counter finished up this morning and got it installed. Replaced 3 or 4 more capacitors inside the 2000. I've only got 3 small tantalums that's got to be replaced, but I went ahead and fired it up to begin with, and it's actually working really good. But I still got to replace those caps. Like I said, there's just 3 left. They're little tantalums. I got to get those out of the way. But I want to take a break because there's still a lot of work that needs to be done to that project. So I thought I would go ahead and move to the next project, which is this 1,000-amp power supply. Hello, Mr. Bruce. So today we're going to try to figure out what we want to do here for headroom on, the front and the back for, for our electric. So I thought I had a breaker out here, but I guess I don't. So I want to make sure I give myself plenty of room on this. That's what it amounts to. Oh man. How's Mr. Bruce doing today? Any good? Alrighty, so I think about where I've got those set at, it's probably going to be just about the amount of room that I'm going to need. Usually I'll go ahead and I'll set these here and I'll try to estimate real close to what I need to begin with. The only reason why I say that is because, I want to try to keep as much room back here as I can on the back side, because I've got a lot of wire that's going to be back here as far as for the main power leads. They're going to go all the way to the back here. So I think that's just reminders telling me to get out of bed. Yep. And a bunch of other notifications. All right, so you did. Where did you find your reflect problem? Because you were sitting next to me when we were playing around, as far as even on my antenna. So, what did you discover on your little escapade there? Let's see. I had an alpha delta antenna switch to go from the antenna to the other. Took it out. Yeah, well, see, and that's just it. I used to use for, almost 20 years, I used to actually have a switch box that hung on the wall. And, and I've used it all the way up until the HG era, as far as the switch, because most of this time, the only time that I ever bypassed that was when I was working on anything bigger than, an 8-bill. As far as to bypass the switch box, I bought, I spent some good money. The one I bought was like $100. So, it was a pretty good one. And, then I finally, when the HG world came out and, everybody started having reflect and, all the problems associated with working with brand new transistors. Well, that's when, that's when things finally got to the point where it's like, well, we need to start reevaluating things. And let me tell you, that was, that was a lot of work, to be honest with you. So, but anyhow, I know going back to this little project, we need to get, this all straightened out. That does remind me, I need to check because I don't know if I've got any more on hand. I don't know if I reordered them, which is I know I've got plenty of shunts, but I don't know if I've got the 1000 amp volt and amp meter for the front. Let me check that real quick. Okay. Yes, I've got one left. So as soon as I sell something, I'll have to order some more of those. All right, so that's the minimum. Wouldn't mind having just a little bit more. But let me measure here in the back. I want to see kind of what I've got room-wise. That's 4 3/4 there. And I've got the same on both. Okay. Perplexing. Yeah, because up here I've got plenty of room, except I need to make sure that I've got enough of an area for my cabling. And that's what I'm actually trying to think, is whether or not I want to do these in an offset pattern. Because I've done that before to give myself extra room in the back, because I'm not going to need as much up here, but I will for the first essentially 4 modules at least. So one of the things that I could do to give myself a little bit of extra headroom. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Because I also have to bear in mind, I also have to have enough room for the wire back here too. So I don't know. I want to do this, an offset configuration. Hello, Floyd. I'm doing good, buddy. Well, Bruce, I'll tell you, I've got a couple different options. One of which is I can lay them out this way, or I can do, one of the things that I've done for years on power supplies, because I believe the cabinet is plenty tall enough for it. Matter of fact, your power supply was kind of the founding father of what I had been doing for years. Let's see here. No, that's the face. That's not the side. It goes here. Because I also have to remember this riser here goes up a little bit. But one of the things that I have really, really started enjoying doing as far as on building these is just like your power supply, mounting these in this format here. Now, the only problem that I seen right away on these, if I put them on the side like like I would do with the Meanwells or the Megawatts or whatever I would build with, is if I mount these on the side, because I've got the electric on the AC on the opposite side, it makes it a little more difficult as far as on that part of it. Because I mean, I can get it down fairly low and pull everything to the center and run bus bars and what have you. Um, the only problem is I'm starting to lose on the top end, and then trying to bring wires down either on the top. It's just not going to be, granted, I can fit 5 on each side with no problem. Of course, if I would build the box in a whole different attribute and have it flipped up the other direction and things like that, I could do it in another format. But nah, I think I'm just going to stick with. I think I'm going to stick with just the way I've got it here. Because the cabinet's not real big, but I want to try to keep it, reasonably small. But I think, again, I mean, I'm not going to need as much room as you think, because the wires are going to be so incredibly short back here, going up to the wall. I don't think I'm going to have a whole big issue with that. Like I said, I've got just kind of limited room as far as on the overall. But anyhow, let's go ahead and let me take a measurement here real quick. That way I can kind of get an idea as far as for the first hole that we're going to be mounting it on. So come off to the edge. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and start stacking some of these in the box. Get these out of the way. Those two out. Extra yards down with the box on. Well, I'm assuming you mean the Texas Star 500V. Well, a lot of it is making sure that you get upgraded power wire and things like that with it, going into the box. If you're trying to get more out of it, I mean, there's a few little things you can do as far as adding capacitors and whatever else into the system to go ahead and allow you enough as far as on the overall headroom. But that way you can get the most out of it without anything major. You're welcome, Floyd. Yeah, there's a lot of little stuff you can do on your own, as far as upgrading your power wires on it, upgrading a few power chokes, things like that. Adding, which I know that there should be room, even if you just add a small 10,000 microfarad capacitor on the inside, you'd be surprised at what that will let you come up with. Yeah, and every time I want to make a template, that never seems to happen. Which in this case here, it's not going to be a real big deal, just because of the fact that I've got a line of screw holes that are going to be mounted here, and then in the back, you're only looking at maybe three points of contact with with a mounting bar for these. So there's actually less layout for this than what there is for the other type of supplies. One of the things that I've always wanted to do is actually for some of the different boxes, and it just seems like everything winds up different, and I don't ever have time to go to the hardware store, because what I really would like to do is get some of that thin sheet metal, lay it right out on top of whatever it is that I'm making. Aluminum sheet would be great, but it's a lot harder to get a hold of than what just basic sheet metal is. But yeah, I would love to sit down and make myself a little template that I could lay things out, and that would speed my process up immensely. But everybody wants a different cabinet for this purpose or that purpose. Kind of like the other day when I did that 300 amp power supply, that's technically a 400 amp, and the 500 amp, which these are different modules than the standard versions that we typically use. So, and right now where we've got and then right now where we've got apparently something's off here a little bit. It ain't off much, but my brain went dead. I heard my phone ding. I know that's my wife. So let's see what she says this morning. There we go. Yeah, usually she's pretty busy. I think she sleeps a lot. Okay. Just go back here. Okay. That's pretty good. That's kind of cool, Floyd. Yeah, that you're right, Gary. The lithium batteries or even the AGM batteries, they go a lot further than, just a single, single 1 or 2 farad capacitor. However, I mean, they do have the, I have seen, the 10 and 20 farad capacitors that they do have now. And again, they do help as well. But unless you've got about 50, 50 or 100 farad capacitor, um, they get kind of, um, they help, anything helps, don't get me wrong, but there are so many different variables that go into everything. Oh, there you go. Yeah, but you play with lights and sirens all damn day, Gary. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that your mama doesn't have to buy your batteries anymore for you. I'll tell you. Not with the toys you play with now. Oh, okay. Uh, I'm just giving you a hard time, Gary. Okay. So I need to go up just a little bit more. I think to maximize the room on top, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my primary AC leads instead of having them on top, since I know that I'm going to have this space underneath this riser. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my AC down on the bottom side of this and bring me a hole here up going to the circuit breaker. I think that's what I'm going to do, mainly because of the fact that that's going to give me that little extra room here, and it'll make a little bit cleaner look on top. That way the only thing we've got is our main AC that's going to go across the front here, and then our DC lines that are going to be located here. So I can't remember, and that's the reason why I've got 2 of these out. Because I've got to have spacing, and then I've got to have extra spacing for the center. Let's go ahead and add me a little block here, which where was that? Because I had them laid out this afternoon. There they are. Because I am going to go up to a bigger, since this is a bigger cabinet, I'll go up to a bigger nut here. So 5 in, I need to make sure that I allow myself a little extra space It's going to be 1 11/16 inches. It's so odd that it looks like that. That way it looks like 1 3/4 inches, but if I lay out my scale, I've got more than 1 3/4 inches. Well, we'll go with 1 3/4 inches because it's going to be easier on the layout. Now, I don't know about you guys, but now I have been looking back and forth as far as on these modules, and these modules have pretty well dried up. I mean, they came and went just about as fast as they came. So, I've had people ask me about different prices on these and what have you, and if I was still able to get them for $20 a pop, I would say that the price would go way down on the supplies, where I don't have an unlimited supply of those at that point. It actually makes it kind of difficult, and I can still get them, but I have to pay an exuberant price for them now. I mean, if I would have bought or had the finances to have bought about 1,000 of these at that price, it would have made life a whole lot easier. I mean, some guys actually did. Some guys actually did buy, several hundred a head. Unfortunately, I could not afford to buy that many at one time. Two, three. Yeah, I guess I expected those to be around for a couple of months, not like 2 weeks. Okay, so that's for that. Should still give me enough room. Good evening, Joe. Radio killing lightning last night. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I've seen lightning actually come through a window and go all the way across the other side of the room just to hit electronics that were on. Sure, that's brand. 5 amp power supply. And 2510 with it. You're going to need more than 5 amps for that. But if you've got multiples, good evening, Tom. It's been a while. Yeah, it's definitely a big project started here. Hello, Wildville. And yeah, I have been meaning to actually put in some lightning suppressors on the because you can actually buy those. Lowe's actually sells them, or you can put a lightning arrestor right on main service panel. And that's one of the things that I've actually wanted to do for years, and I just never got around to doing it. Good evening, Mr. Carlock. Good. Gives me how much room on the edge? It's not too bad of a guess. It's only an 1/8 of an inch offset with the measurements that I used. But my big thing is I wanted to make sure I had enough on each end. And I gave myself a little extra room there in the center. Horses are running around the yard. But yeah, on the 2510, I would say if you stack 2 or 3 of those together, 3 preferably, you shouldn't need that much power, but 3 will give you about 15 amps. That would be pretty much ideal for what you need, I think, on your 2510. By the way, because the last thing you want to do is not have enough, not have enough headroom. All righty. So we got that laid out. That's going to work out real well. Speaking of which, guys, on this power supply that I'm building here, it is 1,000 amp, and this supply will be for sale when it is completed. So that's going to hit at. All right. I think that's what I want to go off of. Well, as far as on the repair, I don't know because it would depend on just what it needs to get it up and functioning. Texas Star 667. Off the calculator here. Roughly, you need about 125 amps, if I remember right. Yeah. 150 amp supply will actually take care of you because the driver, at least it would be advisable to use 150. I'm not saying you can't get by with less, but I would want at least 150 amp supply just for, like I said, to make sure you get a little extra headroom. Probably been the biggest thing that I see is most people don't usually buy quite a big enough power supply. Okay, so 19 7/8. Okay, so 7/16. If you're talking about the 100 amp modules like what I'm using today, yes, 2 of those will definitely do. Just remember Texas Star. If you are going to be using a Texas Star, running them at 15 volts, I have seen imminent failure when you go to run those like that. Texas Star are very, very, very critical on that biasing, unless you've had it modified on the biasing. So bear that in mind. Yes, you will get more power at 15 volts, but that's the main reason why usually whenever I build power supplies and things like that, I strongly urge people not to go over about 14.5 volts, mainly because of the fact that it gives you that little extra headroom as far as for safety. You know, for example, if you're running DEIs, even at the 14.5, you're going to see those things fail. You know, thankfully, we are out of the era of DEIs. I think everybody will agree with that. That was a nightmare. I built very few amplifiers. I've actually still got one upstairs, which it ran for a year. You know, at I think I set the power supply down to 14.2 volts, and it ran for a whole year as a 2x6 before it finally decided to give up the ghost. And I never did go back and repair the amplifier. You know, I still have it, and I ought to do something with it, to be honest with you, because I mean, you know, it's a good cabinet. I can order a brand new board and make it look brand new again. But I ran that for a base for, you know, like I said, for a little over a year. Thankfully, I didn't buy, but no more than about 2 at a time over the necessity, you know, in hopes that they would come out with something better, you know, fairly soon. So thankfully, I was able to sell out all of the DEI transistors that I had almost immediately. and then there for a short time, which they were a little bit better, but there again, we had issues out of those too, which is the PP100s. They weren't much better, but they were better. Never did build with any of those. Repaired amplifiers with them, but never did build with any of those. Oh, Toshiba's. Yeah, Toshiba's are good. There again, though, even in a Texas Star, because of the way they run their biasing, 15 volts will actually put those at a critical point. I know for experience that I have blowed up a couple of Texas Stars by running them at 15 volts myself. Yeah, you may want to ask some other builders, but I'm sure they'll probably tell you the same thing. I really wouldn't recommend it just because of, let's see, 2.5, just because of what they are. What you've got is a unicorn amplifier at this point in the game anymore. Trying to buy replacement OEM transistors for Toshiba boxes almost out of the question. I mean, they're still out there. Oh yeah, I don't need to worry about that because I am going here. But this is also my center spacing too, not just the center of the cabinet. Yeah, I would. Like I said, I would go down to at least 14.5. Like I said, just to be on the safe side. Like I said, I ran into that issue several years ago. Thankfully, they were still prevalent at the time. And this was actually before, BBI, had his, his web page or anything like that up and what have you. So, I mean, I learned that the hard way. I said, that's kind of bad to say, but it is what it is. Yes, Gary, I would too. I've still got my first 4-pill that I ever built with the Toshiba transistors, and I used it for many, many years. It's not been overdriven because all I've done is ever use just radio drive going directly into the straight 4-pill, and so I mean, I know it's not hurt. And yes, I would trade that amplifier along with a set of Browning Mark IVs for a 1969 GT500 all original. Okay. I'm glad I went ahead and went back and double checked here, because I mean, just because one is in the center of the box doesn't mean that that's where it needs to be. It needs to be in the center of these two modules here for back here. You know, I know how much room I've got on each side, but you know, that's kind of the critical point there, because not everything is 100% symmetrical, because I intentionally laid everything off to the one side in order to go ahead and make sure I've had room for any kind of AC or anything else that would need to be laid down the right side of this box. You know, that, and like I said, I wanted to make sure I had that opening groove here. So double check myself here. It should be 1.25 inches. Yeah, like I said, you know, a lot of these people that do have the original Toshibas, you know, they're getting anywhere from 100 to $150. Some people are getting as much as $200 a transistor for those right now. That's the only reason I'm recommending you do that. Because you're not, you know, you're going to see, you will see peak wattage go up, but as far as on the RMS, you're not going to gain enough just dropping back a half a volt. You're not going to gain enough between those two differences, you know, to justify going up. But Gary, now that I know that you have horses, that means I know where I can go vacationing at. I love to ride horses. It was one of the few things that I would love to do yet today, but unfortunately, I do not have a place to keep a horse. Okay, 350. stuff out of the way, and then we'll go back and start with the other holes. Those deburred here real quick. Yeah, 5 horses. Son has done many. Walk around cost you money. Yeah, but they're also like kids too. Kids will always cost you money. Yeah, we'll drill one hole and then I'll go from there. I can't remember which size drill, but I use for that. Yeah, speaking of these modules, though, I have found a couple of sources that I can purchase these from, if anybody is interested. But the problem is the price is going to be, a lot more than the, $20 that everybody is used to seeing. There's a company that I have found that actually has refurbished ones. I think they come with a 90-day warranty. The only problem is with the 90-day warranty, because we are going to be taking them apart, warranty is null and void. So, bear that in mind. But they do come with like a 90-day warranty from the factory. And even at that, I think they're about 70. I think they're about $75. I mean, new ones are about 170. But I have been kind of looking in, like I said, I have been looking into trying to find some replacements and stay with this, that way I can stay with the same exact brand. Because I mean, from what I've seen and everything, as long as you don't get wild and crazy with them on the voltage, I've heard a lot of good things about them. I've heard some bad too, but that's where people have been running them at 15.5 and 15.9 volts too. Two more to go, and then the camera shaking will stop here, guys. Now, I should have mounted that to the wall instead of to the table. Silicon mat here. All right. Get some of this stuff up here off the floor real quick. On occasions, the cat comes out here and what have you, and I don't need to be digging a piece of aluminum out of the cat's paw. So. Or out of my foot whenever I decide I come out here and I want to work barefooted. Because the concrete feels really nice, especially during the summer where it's nice and cool. I got to figure out what happened to my Jesus sandals. Got a pair of those that I wear too during the summertime out here. I'll have to get the other die out for this because I've still got the 8mm, or excuse me, what's that, 832 or 1032 that I used for the other one. But you're also looking at a lot more compact area, and the fact that I'm only using it for half instead of using it for 10 modules here. Yeah, I've only changed this out one time since I've had this. It's a little different. But it doesn't take but a second to actually get it all set up. Well, if you like horses, Gary, you know, right now I've been seeing a lot of ads here for the for the Border Patrol. Of course, I'm sure you know that looks a lot more inviting sitting on a horse, you know, out in the middle of the desert versus you know, being air conditioned car at times. But yeah, that's also available right now. I actually thought about myself here in the last year or two, but man, I think that's more hassle than I want to get into. Alrighty. You got that taken care of. All right, guys. Sadly, it is actually almost 5 after 9, which that means I have to close up shop and go to the other jobs. All right, guys. I appreciate you popping in. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like and subscribe. If you like what you see here today, I would greatly appreciate it. Love to have you guys in here a lot more. So you'll stay right here in Florida, air conditioned. Yeah. There you go. But yeah. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this one. Like I said, it's a 1,000 amp power supply that will be for sale as soon as it's completed. So, if somebody's interested. If not, I'll save it back, put it on the shelf until such time as either I need it or somebody's interested. So, but yeah, just trying to get up a little extra money for some of the things that are upcoming with medical bills and what have you. So that's part of the reason why I built the 500 amp, and then I figured I'd go ahead and build the 1,000 amp as well out of some parts that we have already in stock. But because I've had a lot of people ask me about one, but there again, we got a few that are tire kickers. But anyhow, guys, I appreciate it. You guys take care. We will catch you on the next live feed.